According to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, as of June 23, 2019, a total of 880,000 out of 800,000 plus people are active DACA recipients among the 10.5 to 12 million Hispanic undocumented immigrants. The undocumented immigrants, along with DACA recipients, have been fighting to have equal access to education and keep DACA ever since August 15, 2012, when DACA was set in place. And as you may or may not know, the National Immigration Law Center has announced the court will be taking in the case that will decide whether or not Donald Trump will terminate DACA, and is estimated to be decided on by the end of 2020. There is no question this leaves the future and education of many uncertain. Hello, I'm your host Ruth Rios, and today I am joined by Felix.
Hello.
And Jennifer.
Hello.
And this to you is Podcast. Okay, so to start off this discussion, do you believe undocumented Hispanic immigrants are receiving equal rights and access to education?
I do believe that they have the same access to education. However, I think that based on how the school system is, many of them have restrictions when it comes to opportunities for scholarships. So that leaves many of them having to pay more financially for getting the same education as citizens.
I do believe that everybody in the United States is allowed the same type of education. It's just financial restrictions. So like as mentioned earlier, scholarships are not always available. And then many students who are undocumented have to pay out-of-state tuition as well.
I agree with you guys. I think that Hispanic immigrants are not receiving equal rights and access to education. Now that they're still discussing on whether they should terminate DACA or not. Moving on, because the Equal Educational Opportunities Act of 1974 was passed in an effort to end segregation towards Black Americans and their equal access to education, do you believe in present time this act applies to all skin colors and races, also including undocumented Hispanic immigrants?
I do believe it should contribute to all races and skin colors, but I do believe it may be excluding undocumented citizens.
I feel like now it's been a lot of time since the act was passed, and maybe there could be one that applies more to the Hispanic immigrant community instead of just the Black Americans.
Well, according to the U.S. Department of Justice, this act prohibits, among other conduct, deliberate segregation on the basis of race, color, and religion. So, it should be able to apply to any skin color, including Hispanic people. So, do you guys know what DACA is? And if so, what do you know?
I'm not completely sure what DACA is, but I have heard that DACA is a program in the United States that allows undocumented citizens to get a working permit.
Yeah, I've also heard that gives undocumented people, teens who are here to study, the opportunity to stay in the country and to apply for jobs, as well as things like driver license. However, I've heard it doesn't guarantee citizenship, nor is it a way for citizenship, but it does give the teens the right to be here and feel safe without having the fear of being deported.
I've also heard that the teenagers with the DACA status are called dreamers, which I thought was very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so just to clear things up, DACA stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, which was introduced by Barack Obama in 2012. According to the Immigration Council, DACA is a policy providing temporary relief from deportation, deferred action, and work authorization to certain young undocumented immigrants brought to the United States as children. Those who are recipients of DACA are called dreamers, as you mentioned. It is also known that they can freely travel on an airplane, but only in the United States. From your perspective, do you think that right now the issue with Hispanic immigrants and DACA is a big deal?
It seems that many teenagers rely on DACA for opportunities they may have not had in their original country. So I think there is a strong relationship between this and keeping the program.
Yeah, I think it's a big deal because DACA has been around for a couple of years, and in those years many of the teens who have DACA have been able to change their lives because of the opportunities DACA gives. They've began to get jobs and grow financially and grow their families. So I think it's a big deal that it's being debated right now.
I would like to agree on that. I think this issue is really it's a big deal because we live in Arizona. DACA, this is where they mainly fight for it, also in California, but we live in a society inhabited by many immigrants, millions of immigrants, and I think they should really take into account their access to education because there's so many people living here.
Yeah, and I've heard that it's going up for debate very soon, so what's up with that?
I do believe that they're just gonna check if the Trump administration acted lawfully when opting to end the program in 2017, if I'm not wrong.
To clarify on this, regarding DACA, the National Immigration Law Center has stated that Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced the decision of the government ending the DACA and for Homeland Security to reject any new applications for work permits and applications to become a recipient for deferred action for childhood arrivals. As a result, many lawsuits were made against the Trump administration, which has prevented the government from terminating the program and allowed for application renewals for those who were already DACA recipients. However, up to date, it is known that renewals and applications are being postponed until further notice because of their decision.
So does this no new renewal policy apply to the work permits and driver license as well?
Since having DACA status allows you to get a work permit and license, I don't think those resources will be available afterwards.
I could agree on that too because DACA does allow them to, get a work permit and driver's license. So what do you think their future decision will be, and how do you think it will affect the Hispanic and undocumented society in the future regarding DACA?
I think that the government's decision, I don't think they'll fully terminate it because of how large the undocumented community is and how much they contribute to the economical status of the United States. However, if it is terminated, I think it will destroy many dreams of those teenagers and of the dreamers, and it will really hurt many Hispanic families because many rely on it to get their education.
That's all the time we have today. Thank you to Felix and Jennifer for joining me today. This was Spotcast.